So today I wanted to talk about the biggest mistakes that I made as a new web designer. So I've been a web designer for about 5 years now. I think it's coming up on my 5th year anniversary. And I just want to reflect back on some of the biggest mistakes I made as a new entrepreneur and a new web designer, so you hopefully don't make the same ones I did. The first one was when I first got started as a web designer. It was overwhelming working with WordPress because there were so many themes, so many plugins, so many different variables you could choose. You could get some with combination, you can get some without. So it was just a complete learning curve, definitely. And I didn't make the best decision. I thought I did. The reviews were really great. It had 5-star reviews for the theme and plugin that I chose to use with one of my first coaching clients. But after I installed it, we quickly ran into issues. It was very bloated, which means that the code was so slow, it was too much, and half the time when you would try to edit the page, it would break and crash. So it was not the greatest. So I definitely learned later on that the theme that you choose and the plugins that you choose are so critical, and to always choose the lightest weight ones, so they won't slow down your website as much. So after that, I quickly did more research, and I have stuck with, so almost for 5 years, the same one that I still use today with all my new clients with WordPress. So that's the Generate Press theme. It's like a framework, so it's really lightweight and great for SEO. And then I use Elementor for the page builder plugin. So to actually add everything super easily, you just drag and drop all the features of your website. And since then, everything's been pretty much great. With Elementor, you're not stuck with all those short codes that you would get with some of the other ones. So it's so nice when you disable the plugin and you're not just left with all these bunch of random code blocks. It's just the words that you actually put. So definitely when you're just starting out, make sure you're really, really comfortable with the theme and plugin. And if you're able to, test it beforehand. Because the first plugin or the theme that I used, I think it was $60. So that one you couldn't really test. So make sure you do. And then one of the second biggest mistakes was just because you're new in business and you don't feel like you know as much. But I definitely thought that I was a bit of a pushover when it came to designs, and I didn't stand up for my designs. Even though I had a good eye, I already researched what was great and what was going to work for people. I knew what the trends were. I knew what was in style. I still let my clients push over me a little bit more than I would have liked. And I think it wound up, hurting their business because the design that they chose wasn't exactly the best fit for them. And if I had been stronger in voicing my opinion and trying to explain why this would work and try to stand up for myself a little bit better, it would show confidence, and hopefully the client would have agreed with me and we would have gone to a better start with their website. Over time, I've learned definitely to come into my own voice, and people come to me because I'm the expert, because I've learned to stand up for myself and become more confident. And yes, I do agree with some clients with their stuff, and happy to collaborate. But just overall, it's been a great learning curve, a great learning experience to become more confident in myself, and definitely improve my design style as well over the years. So. And then one of the other mistakes I made, especially as an entrepreneur, when you're first getting started with your first clients, not setting clear boundaries. Definitely, that was a big one. Just because when this is one of your first design jobs and you're so excited to be in the field, you think you have to, do everything to all your clients and make sure you're available 24/7, which I did not set boundaries early on, where I should have said, I was having times where work was interrupting, dinner or the evenings or on weekends and early mornings, and it was awful. So I needed to set boundaries and say, hey, if there's something urgent, which usually a lot of the times it's not super urgent, it's just like, I need it done. I would love to have it done now, but unless you set into clear boundaries of, if there's things that go over time, so outside of work hours, that should have a different rate. And once I was able to put that into place into my contracts and say, hey, this will be overtime work, or this is out of scope, so this is not for the contract, it's going to charge extra. People respected my time more. I respected myself more, and everything just worked better. There wasn't any tension between clients, and they could understand, I had a life and they had a life, and we were able to respect each other more. So definitely for first getting started, make sure you're clear with your contracts of what's included in your hourly rate, what's included in your time of day, and if anything else is over that, make sure you're charging something that'll make you happy to do it And always, it's not, nothing is ever set in stone. So even if they ask you for something over time, it's still up to you whether to choose it, to take it or not. So sometimes, if there's nothing else I'm doing, yeah, sure, I can do it. But if not, it's like, you know what, I'm living my life. Everything can wait until the morning. So it's up to you. And then my last final mistake I made when I was first getting started was not asking for testimonials. I would go a long time before I even got up the courage to ask my clients, and some of my early ones I never even did, and I regret that now. But so definitely when you're first getting started, have a system for collecting testimonials. Make sure you're getting a journey, so you have a snapshot at the beginning of what life is like for your client now, what it's like during working process with you, and then at the end, what the results are. So if you're very clear on getting that testimonial and that journey to highlight on your website and in your portfolio, that's so much greater, or so much better. And I just wish that I had started from the previous ones. I don't think I asked for testimonials with a system until like year 2 of my business. But always you can still go back and you can ask clients, so it's not the end of the world. But from the start, you should definitely make sure you have testimonials. So yeah, that's a look back on some of the biggest mistakes I made as a new web designer. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have any other similar experiences when you got started, what your biggest mistakes were as an entrepreneur, I'd love to know too. Thanks.